How's it going, everybody? How's it going? How's your Saturday night fever going? Well, this is the first live show we've done in a while. Um, so this will be our LSU Odyssey Saturday Night Fever special tonight. If you were not probably born sometime in the 20th century, uh, Saturday Night Fever probably sounds like some type of COVID-related weekend. Endless bullshit or something. Uh, you probably don't remember the movie or are too young to understand the reference, so just that's fine. I mean, I'm betting half or probably 80% of the references we put in our stuff are probably just completely lost on a lot of people, and it's actually kind of funny to me. But here we are tonight, and we thought we would be just doing a show where we'd be going through your favorite Tigers to watch ahead of 2023, your Tigers that you're looking at, you've got all eyes on. We didn't really expect too much news to be breaking and stuff. And then I get word uh, maybe a few hours ago, I'm not sure. Um, Let me look. 2.5 hours ago, um, that there would be a transfer from LSU. Um, Michael Dougherty would be transferring from LSU. And I almost laughed. I was like, yeah, yeah, right. And the sources never steered me wrong. But then right then, Michael, it seems like right then posted it. It may have been an hour after someone told me that was going to happen, but I'm not sure. This could have been a decision that had already been made before the portal closed, and it's just barely being announced. But yeah, wow. A move from Michael Dougherty that is very interesting. Michael Dougherty, freshman safety from LSU, transfers from the program. Yes, this is someone who him and his family were very just gung ho pro LSU, very much so diehard, wanting to be part of the program, very much so invested in his development in the program. And so, it was very strange seeing this news, seeing his announcement that he will transfer from LSU. Um, Only a month into being an early enrollee. So, um, yeah, it took me by surprise. It took me by surprise. I didn't expect to see that at all. When someone tips me off on something, sometimes you just don't you just think it's just someone just kind of saying, "Oh, I think this is going to happen," or "I want this to happen, so here, let me tell you this." Because there's sometimes people just kind of send me some weird DMs like that. There was something to it that was like, this is going to happen. This isn't just a weird DM, because it was the source, it was the person. Um, and then Michael announces, and it was like, whoa. And it was shocking. Shocking to see Michael Dougherty transfer that quick. Someone who seemed to really be tight with the coaches, really want to. We just barely wrote this really deep, thorough article going into Michael Dougherty's history, the rise of DBU King Tiger 2023 Tiger King Michael Dougherty. Um, Exclusive interview with his family, and it's just telling all about his background, his history, and his love for LSU. Coming out of the state of Georgia, and so it was very strange to see this quick transfer. And that's what you're going to see nowadays in this Wild West um, transfer world. You're going to see You're going to see transfers like you've never seen before. Let me just share this real quick. Sorry if we're rusty. It's been extremely cold here the last little bit. It's been like physically like intense how cold it is here. And so really just trying to get through this last part of winter that's just it's just nasty. Like that's why I haven't shaved, because frankly when you shave it, that wind it cuts your face like a knife, and it feels so right. So you're probably not going to get that reference. Cuts like a knife. Brian Adams, anyone? But yeah, the Doherty news is shocking, and I know people are going to ask me, what happened? How did it happen? What happened? Why? And that's of course what people should want to know, is why, what happened, how could someone who is really into LSU, really loving everything about the program, all this stuff, just leave? I mean, it's a mystery, but at the same time, I mean, there's some things that I've been told from the initial source that really, now once the announcement came down, I was like, okay, that's why, that makes sense. And I'm not sure if I'm in a position where I can share those things. I've got to really figure that out first in the next little bit here before we do anything like that. Um, I mean, first I've got to confirm that, and so I'm just waiting on that. You got to dot your I's, cross your T's. But really, the purpose of this show tonight, I know, sorry, I'm really rusty. I probably sound awful, but the purpose of this show tonight was I wanted to highlight the Tigers coming up in 2023 that you wanted to see. The guys that you were wanting to check out, really see pop in 2023 and take over. Okay. Now, let's go through and see your comments. Okay, we're gonna go reading off of these here. Let's see. Trying to find these damn comments. I should have pulled them up earlier. See, I'm rusty. I'm rusty. There is a guy that really stands out to me, and is someone that I think I saw a few of you mention. Savion Jones. I really feel like this is the season where Savion Jones can make that defensive end spot, left or right, his own, strong or weak side, his own. I think he's very versatile as well. You can use him in a variety of positions, but if you play him at that jack, I think that's his best spot. Damn, I don't see any of this. So many damn comments on the Malik Neighbors news from this week I have to wade through, that I'm like trying to find all the comments about your comments about Tigers you were gonna see, you were wanting to see this season. Yeah, stunning news with Michael Doherty leaving. I don't think it really changes the complexion of the safety room too much this season. I don't think he would have been starting or really playing much at all this season at safety, if I'm going to be real, and that's just the truth. Because, I mean, he's a freshman. And unless you're a spectacular freshman and there's also an injury need and there's a hole, then yeah, sure you'll play. But with Major Burns and Greg Brooks Jr. there, and then Sage Ryan beyond them, um, there's three guys there that are pretty much going to be starting there. I mean, there's two, obviously, Greg Brooks Jr. and Major Burns, but then Sage Ryan, his hopeful position is safety. This is the position he wants to play is safety. That's the position I think he'd be most uh, spectacularly used in. But we'll see. They seem to want to play him at nickel, but you know, damn, I am not finding. Yeah, the Doherty news. I don't know. I don't know. It's is this a trend? Where LSU Tigers are just going to be just out the door? You know, you're going to see guys saying they love this team so much, they love this program so much, and say a lot of things that make you think that they're going to give for this program a lot. They're gonna go out there and they're gonna kick some ass for this program. They're really gonna set a marker as and become a historic Tiger potentially. You see so much positive love for the brand. You got to think that okay, we have success here, right? This player is going to be a success. And then not only to like, okay, it's one thing if the player, doesn't quite become, fulfill their potential, injuries, things like that. That's one thing. But leaving, it's sad. Sad to see. Sad to see. Should never come to that where you're seeing guys who could contribute to this program out the door. But here's the thing: with the way the transfer portal is nowadays, if you are out that door, it's because you either A, didn't want to be here, B, didn't belong here, or C, couldn't fulfill the standards to continue to remain there. So that's what we're talking about here when it comes to transfers here. And with it being so open, being so wild west, anything goes. You're going to see moves that you thought would never happen. How is this guy leaving? How is this possible? Um, it's because it is possible now. Before it wasn't. The players had no power. And so I think some of these older players are kind of counseling these younger guys and saying like, damn, if I had the chance to go leave, uh, you know, Michigan and go to Miami for the last 2 years with Jimmy Johnson or something, like I would have done that back in the 80s or whatever. Like you got guys probably telling guys that. So like go play for Saban, like stuff like that. I could see that type of stuff happening because that's the type of stuff I've heard from these players and their families when some of these transfers have happened. Um, it's about, hey, you know what? You have the choice now. So this happened and this happened and this happened over here, and you're not getting any playing time. You need to get on the field so you can play in the NFL. Whatever the reason is, whatever the age is of the player, but that's what makes Michael Doherty's transfer so strange. He's a true freshman, early enrollee, only been on campus for more than a month, and he's already gone. I, I think I think sometimes people kind of like go after the families of people who transfer too much. And so when someone like me is just kind of asking a question, like things can get heated because of all these people going after them. And so if I please everybody just kind of chill out and stop, going after the Dohertys, saying nasty stuff. There's no need, absolutely no need, because none of you know what's going on. And because of your desire to know what's going on, you're getting nasty. You're getting desperate, and you're getting crazy, and you're getting mean. So just take it down a notch. Just take it down a notch. Okay. This is a true freshman who basically is a senior in high school, if you think about it. Senior in high school. Hasn't even finished his senior year. So let's dial it back here. Let's understand, like, yes, just like a coach can make choices, players can now make choices. And maybe we don't like all those choices. Maybe we don't understand some of those choices. Maybe we don't realize why those choices are being made. But you know what? That's okay. It all comes out in the wash in the end, because hopefully something good will happen for Michael Doherty from this, and he will have a successful career. And then hopefully for LSU, they will be able, someone will be able to take that spot left by Michael Doherty and do something great with that. So you could see two wins from this situation if you wanted to, and that's how I like to look at these type of things. Follow us there at Lon Phillips on Twitter. Um, it's interesting though, because someone so new to the program, someone so gung ho LSU Tiger, wanting to be a part of this program, and then is gone so quickly. It's sad. It's sad. It's shocking. It's a wild turn of events, and that's what can happen nowadays in college football because of the transfer portal. That's just straight up what can happen nowadays because of the transfer portal. And should there be changes? Should there be things rules amended so that things like this can't happen? Or should these type of decisions you know be allowed to be made? Was this, if you go and you look at it, even though this is kind of a wild west type of framework with the transfer portal in college football, and I understand there needs to be a little bit, it needs to be reined in a little bit more. I also really love the idea that players can make such definitive choices for themselves and kind of really take control of their careers. It does make the coaches' jobs hell. It does make roster management an absolute nightmare. I mean, it makes even like my job sometimes obsolete in a way, because I'm covering these guys, getting to know these guys, really excited to watch these guys become Tigers, and then it ends. Cut the cord. It's sad. And luckily for me, I'm in the position where I've continued to remain in contact with pretty much all the people I've ever talked to. Um, who it's if you still want to talk to me, we'll still keep talking. And the transferring, leaving from LSU, going to the NFL, whatever the thing is, for me, it hasn't really ended the relationship. So like, you know, it's sad to see guys go and their families go, but there's always something better that they're going to be moving on to. Because if they came to LSU to begin with, they probably something good about them. They probably have pretty damn good taste, if they're wanting to be an LSU Tiger in the first place. Sad to see Michael Doherty go. Could have been a great safety at LSU. I think we could have used him as a total box owning safety. where just a guy who attacks the line of scrimmage, attacks ball carriers, attacks the quarterback, blows up screens. Um, he had something like over 12 sacks as a junior, something like that. Let me get that number correct because I don't want to get that number wrong. Um, he had a ridiculous number of sacks and tackles for loss as a junior. Yeah, I mean, just going through this article right here, it's kind of sad to see this young man leave LSU. It's kind of sad, but hopefully he will move on to better things. He had 4 tackles for loss in a single game after dealing with the death of some friends, and then the death of a particularly close friend. He had 18 and a half tackles for loss in 44 total appearances. That's in his entire Grayson High career. It's sad. Sad to see him go. But who now is the Tiger to really go in there and take that spot? Who's going to be the Tiger now to go in and take that spot? Who's going to move up into that rung? I don't think there was really like anyone to move up into that rung. I mean, obviously he's a true freshman. He was going to be pretty low on the totem pole going in, but was there anyone behind him? I mean, we got Ryan Yates is the other true freshman safety, and I think Ryan Yates, his versatility leans to him possibly playing earlier than Michael Doherty would have been able to at LSU, because Ryan Yates can play safety, nickel, and corner. Michael Doherty, I feel like he could have also, even with some added weight, become a linebacker, like a hybrid linebacker. He had kind of an interesting skill set with that type of thing. Great tackler, fantastic, phenomenal tackler, great at blowing up plays. But then you got Ryan Yates, who's way better in coverage, far better, versatile, ball hawking, and comes from a really elite defensive school at Denton Guyer. Awesome coaching staff there. We got a comment. Tiger Den Sports. What's up? What's up, my man? How you doing, brother? What's up, my blind brother? He says, just joined the show. Not sure what I missed, but do you know why Michael Doherty is transferring? Yeah, we've been told something. We're trying to kind of make sure if that's true. We really don't know if it's true. We're not sure. We're just like, we don't want to bother the family any more than they've been bothered and kind of like attacked by people kind of blowing up their DMs and stuff, like, and so we're just gonna like, I would rather not ruin a relationship than get a scoop of news, like I think I'm pretty sure, well aware what happened, but it's, yeah, that's something I'm gonna not release right now. As I said earlier, that's something I've got to really make sure and get. That's something I got to make sure to cross my I's and cross my T's and dot my I's on, because to me, the relationships mean more, and you're not going to last long in this business if you try and just throw away relationships for a story. If you think that you can just like treat people like garbage and stuff in this business and keep rising, it's going to ultimately come back and kick you in the ass. And that's what we pride ourselves on, is that I feel like outside of a few situations, one or two situations where things may have been misunderstood, you know, and once again, this is why I cannot wait for the budget to be able to travel a lot more to do this than, but like sometimes having to do it over the phone so much, um, things might get misconstrued, misunderstood, things like that. But outside of those one, like I think one or two situations, and both those situations were cleared up really quickly. Um, we've been able to keep those relationships because we've taken bullets for our sources. Let's just be real here. Like there's times we have looked bad because we will not reveal who our source is. Kayshawn Booty telling us he's going to come back. And then a few hours later, you know, it's suddenly he's going to the NFL, and we look bad. But like we're only just reporting what somebody, the subject of the story, reported us. So like, it's you're going to sometimes have to take bullets for your sources. And like if you're going to do this the way I'm doing it, which is kind of a very unique maverick way of doing it, but also very genuine, real, and I think also an honorable way of doing this job. Um, Sometimes I've had to just swallow the breaking news scoop because I know that relationship means more. Well, career aside, just as people. But then, like, you think you can just like mess people over and rise in this job, like you're going nowhere. You're going nowhere. And I mean that goes for this job, that goes for life. Like you can't just treat people like shit and tell people one thing, do another, and then think you can just keep getting away with it. There's a lot of reporters I know who, you know, I was waiting for the day for that to kind of come back and get to them, and it has. I've seen it, um, and I'm very prideful that situation won't happen to us. I hope, because we have really tried to do our due diligence with how we treat people and how we report things. We're not always going to get it right because we're young, we're inexperienced, we're kind of stupid, but we will, and total lack of sleep over the last 7 months with being a new dad. I'm just going to be real with you. Just kind of, you know, it's just something new that I've had to adjust to. But in that time, we've still had our news, you know, circulated on Sports Illustrated, on on3.com, on USA Today, on The Athletic, on The Advocate. So, um, and a couple times at that in the last 7 8 months. So we try and do what we can, try and get better at this every day. But with this story, Jason, I just can't go into it. Just can't. We will let that play out, or if it, you know, we'll see what happens. One second. I mean, I'm even getting messages right here, right now that it's like, sorry, so many damn messages, so many damn messages. Austin Siobhan messaging me. Jamer's son messaging me. That's awesome. How come Jamer's not? God. Jamer? Totally just ignoring me, Jamer? How could you? So mean, Jamer. um, anyway, yeah, it's sad. It's sad to see such a damn good player transfer from LSU. Potential, but at the same time, what does LSU lose? Like a top of the roster player. Right now, I'll say no because we didn't know what we were going to get from Michael Doherty in year one, or how much he was even going to play. With Major Burns, Greg Brooks Jr. owning those two safety spots, and that's not trying to minimize what his athletic abilities or what he could do in year one because he transferred. That's just me saying like he probably wasn't going to play much in year one, and he's also coming off of an injury from his senior year, where he had a really bad knee problem. I believe it was his knee, right? Let me take a look. I forgot it was his knee, but I want to get this right. No. Sublugated shoulder. So he had that sublugated shoulder, had surgery on it, and was out after 5 games in his senior year. 24 tackles, 1 blocked field goal, 1 fumble recovery, 2 TFLs. That's the thing is like the source I heard it from knew that I was, tight with the Dohertys, at least somewhat. At least talked to them. And knew I liked Michael as a player, as a person, and was kind of like, holy shit, let me hit up Lon about this. And so, it was stunning. It was stunning. But that's the thing is until I hear it from, I'm kind of old fashioned. Until I hear it from that person's lips, even as much as it's like 100% true, you think it's like, is it? But that they're leaving for a reason, and that's where it stands. And I mean, it's stunning the rate of people who are actually asking me right now. People who don't know, people who you would think would know, but don't as well. So it's like maybe I'm not. Maybe the source who told me, who is actually pretty well connected LSU staffer. I mean, it would be strange if they didn't know what they were talking about, but it seemed really too specific. The source has been correct on so many things. The only way they would not be telling me the truth is if they were trying to use me as a smoke screen to try and put out some type of thing. But that's the thing is I'm smarter than that, and I'm not just going to report things because someone told me it. I've learned, guys. Yes, I've learned. I've done some stupid shit in the past, but I've learned. I've learned from these mistakes. Some might say doing this live stream, being as rusty as I am, might be a stupid move by me, but I wanted to do this. The only way you get, to break off that rust never sleeps, is with practice. We're talking about practice, y'all. We're talking about practice. Oh, guys, gals, tigers of all ages. So, tigers that we want to see explode in 2023. Who's really on your radar? Who's on your radar? There's a few people who said, I want to see Sage Ryan returning kicks. Interesting. There's a few people that are saying Quincy Wiggins. A few people looking at Jaylen Brown. Even we think on our article we wrote about him that if there's going to be a freshman receiver who's going to break out in year one, it's likely to be Jaylen Brown. With his speed, you look at his 200, 100-meter numbers, they're faster than Kayshon Boutte's numbers in high school at Westgate. It's nuts. It's nuts. And we all know that, Kayshon Boutte is video game silly fast. He's like digital fast. He's just like, the bro's like fucking digital. Okay. And so Jaylen Brown could be faster. Christ. So that's one thing I'm looking at with this 2023 LSU team is the speed we have on this team, guys. House. Gang. Tiger gang. We have a lot of speed on this team from quarterback with Jaden Daniels. Even Garrett Nussmeier has that breakaway kind of pace in the scramble. White men can run. Okay. But we also have it in the running back room with John Emery Jr., the Bayou Blur. He's, after a year without injury, 8 total touchdowns. I think he's getting into the swing of things. Armani Goodwin, once he gets, that kind of momentum going and he breaks out into the open field, man, he is shifty. Man, he is underrated in his speed. Then that receiving core, guys. Shelton Sampson Jr. is an absolute freak as a freshman. Jaylen Brown is an absolute freak as a freshman. Kyle Parker had 21 catches for 344 yards in a single game this last year in high school. Aaron Anderson from Alabama transfers back home. Former Edna Carr guy who could totally, just like Sage Ryan could, revitalize our special teams as a return man. But then on offense, Aaron Anderson could be that absolute freak number 2 receiver behind Malik Neighbors. But then you got Brian Thomas Jr. This cat scored 5 touchdowns, sneaky 5 touchdowns. Okay, when you're talking about Boutte, Neighbors, Besh, Lacey, Hilton Jr., all 5 of those guys combined only caught 6 on the season. Brian Thomas Jr. had 5. And I know he's kind of statuesque, going to jump over the guys, going to lerp over the guys, but he also has uncageable speed, as we saw in that screen pass from Nussmeier where he catches it and was just gone. I think we're going to see his aerial abilities improve. That jump where he almost gets that touchdown against Georgia, where he separated his shoulder on that play. I think he has that touchdown this next season, Brian Thomas Jr. So that guy is going to be one to watch. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is getting really undersold. I think he's getting really like, no one's talking about Brian Thomas Jr. I haven't really heard anyone talk. For one thing, no one's really talking about LSU football right now, but no one's talking about Brian Thomas Jr. as a potential viable freak here. We are. I think it was like 341 yards, 5 touchdowns. He barely got the ball. Barely had any targets coming his way. Barely had really many catches. But it's what he was able to do. 3 touchdowns in his first season. So he's got 8 touchdowns already as a Tiger. We're talking someone who can really be a serious player here in year 3. Nurse Court says, "What's up, Lon? How you doing, Nurse Court? What's up? What's up? We're just rocking in the free world. We're just talking Tigers who we think can absolutely dominate, absolutely explode in 2023. Tigers to watch, guys who we're really looking after. Jacobian Guillory. everyone's going to be talking about Mason and Mekhi Wingo. You got Mason Smith, you got Mekhi Wingo at the middle. You're solid, right? You got those two. We're good. But we saw a lot of sets that weren't just like a flat four defensive line. Boom, there we go, there we go, there we go. Flat defensive four with the techniques in the middle right here. We had this going on with the jack linebackers on the side. So you feasibly could have Tank in the middle, playing the zero, playing the nose, and then you could have Mekhi and Mason all on the field at the same time with Savion Jones at defensive end, Quincy Wiggins at another defensive end spot. How does that front five sound? That front five sounds absolutely disgusting. Then you got Harold, Omar Spates in behind. 6'7", one corner, one safety, one safety. So you get 5-2, 5-2, 2-2, 5-2-4, however you want to call it. But we could see that type of crazy fucking lineup from this defense. We've seen it last year. They probably don't call it a front five. Probably call it front 3-2, whatever the hell you want to. They probably include the jack guys as with the linebackers. So probably a 3-4-4 is what they probably call it. But it's very interesting to me because you could have it be that front five, or you could have it be that front three with the two. Like, it's all about the blitzing and the motions of the defensive guys pre-snap, and it's just all glorious because post-snap it can all change completely differently. And you've seen that with Matt House. He's been creative as hell. That's what's going to be so fun about this defense in year two. This was a top 10 collegiate defense in year one with Matt House. Most of those guys are returning. Imagine how creative he's going to be. Yes, B.J. Ojolari's leaving. That sucks. That's the guy's one weapon that Matt House would absolutely love to have had back. Mekhi Garner was out of eligibility. So was JBC, Jarek Bernard-Converse, Joe Fuchsia, Micah Baskerville. So we knew that we were losing those guys anyway. Jaquelin Roy was another loss as well. But when you've got Mason Smith coming back, Jacobian Guillory right there, Ty G. Hill, you have some absolute depth there. Deshaun Womack as well. Deshaun Womack, freshman. Could Deshaun Womack be that man who could come in, get 3.5, 4 sacks on the season and send a message, maybe a couple in some big moments? That's kind of what Mason Smith did in year one. 3-in-1 game against Cody Orgeron, coach's son. And then gets another against Florida. And then you knew, okay, year two is going to be where he's going to get 10, 11 sacks and be a freak for LSU. But the injury happens for Mason Smith, and it's for me, yes, Mason Smith is an obvious one for Tigers we want to watch because he's such a star, but like we should put him on this list as well because it's like, what are we going to see from him? Could we see a season where he's really not that explosive, but because of his athletic ability, he's still drawing double teams, so he doesn't really, pop in the stat sheet. But when you're watching the film back, he's like just glorious and just absolute gold dust to watch. That's what I'm looking at with Mason Smith, because we could see technically a year three where Mason isn't as effective because of just coming back from that knee. Got to get that explosion back little by little. Maybe he doesn't pop until halfway through the season. Maybe we don't even see him more than 30, 40 snaps a game until halfway through the season. Let's take a look at LSU's 2023 schedule, because I know we play Arkansas early, right? And that's the thing that's interesting to me. Is I swear it's Mississippi State early like usual. Okay, we got Florida State open the season, and I swear it's Grambling next. Yeah, we got Florida State, Orlando, Revenge Tour Part 2, Wonder how much Mason Smith's going to play in that game. Grambling State could be a game where really we use that game to kind of help get him back against a weaker opponent. But sometimes in football, it doesn't work that way. Sometimes in soccer, that's kind of the way that works. But in football, sometimes the weaker opponents can actually be more dangerous for your guys because they don't know what the hell they're doing and they're just violent and just crazy. Their technique is so horrible, but they're cutting you out at the knees because they don't give a shit. They don't know the rules and they're just trying to get you. So we got Florida State, Grambling State on the 9th, Mississippi State at Mississippi State on the 16th. Arkansas in September. What the hell's going on? Arkansas on the 23rd of September. Then at Ole Miss in Oxford. Okay, so within those first 5 games, LSU actually have 3 games, 4 games technically, because we lost to Florida State last year. We have to include them in this list of teams that are, tough that could beat us here. Mike Norvell's Florida State, we have to take them seriously. They beat us. They kicked our ass, frankly, for a lot of that game. I don't care where they're ranked, who's returning, whatever happened. They beat us last year. Until we beat them and reclaim them, they're still, I say, we have to watch out for them. So really, this is a complete opposite of last year, where in the first 5-6 games for LSU, it seemed like only 1 or 2 of those games were really going to be competitive even. And it was actually Florida State. We lost that game. Auburn, Mississippi State. Both those games, we had those comebacks. But the rest of that meat of that first schedule was so just a lot of gimme games. New Mexico State, I think it is. Southern, it was some gimme games there. And we, LSU could have started that season 6-0, really. But then you got Missouri kind of helps us kind of get some of that back, a moment where we can kind of collect ourselves, right? Well, last time we played Missouri, we lost to them, so I'm kind of, until we beat them, I'm also going to include them on this thing because Drinkovitz kicked their ass last time. But then you got Auburn on the 14th at home. Army on the 21st at home. The bye, November 4th at Alabama. We go to Tuscaloosa this season. November 11th, Florida. Just like the 2020 schedule, we're going to play Alabama and Florida back-to-back. Very strange. And it took a bunch of postponements and all this craziness to make that happen. So it's kind of, the schedule is wampus to our eyes and what we are used to. But then it's Georgia State on the 18th, one of the gimme games, non-conference gimme games. We would think, right? And then on the November 25th, just like every season for the last little bit here, we play Texas A&M at home. So we finished the season with 1, 2, 3, 4. Our last 5 of 6 games are at home. Okay. So the first 2 of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first 2 out of the 6 games are at home. So the schedule's way completely opposite from last year, where we had a lot of home games at first, and then kind of a mix of road and away. It was a schedule that helped us out, really. This schedule is against us, in my opinion. 2 of the first 6 games at home. Just 2. And then, yeah, you do get, last 5 of 6 games, at home, but you have to go at Tuscaloosa, go at Alabama. I don't know. The schedule, I think, screws us. I think the schedule screws us. Yeah, I think you've got easy wins against Army, Georgia State, probably win against Auburn, probably beat Missouri. Should beat Ole Miss, right? I mean, they had us down 20-3 in the first half early this season. We've got some comments. We have got some comments. Nurse Courts, y'all talked about D. Womack. LOL. Nurse Court says Womack is my pick for a couple months as a standout. Just don't want to jinx him like I did Noah Cain. You didn't jinx Noah Cain. He had 10 rushing touchdowns last year, Court. You didn't jinx anybody. You didn't jinx him at all. I mean, if anything, you helped the dude. He had 10 rushing touchdowns last year. Noah Cain did just fine. I mean, like, for a guy who was on the bench a lot of the season, I mean, those are numbers that NFL scouts are going to go, that's a guy we can trust with the ball. That's a guy who's only going to get better the more he continues to play after that really bad knee injury against Penn. When he was playing at Penn State, he had a pretty bad knee injury. And so he's kind of getting that explosion back little by little. He may not be the explosive back he once was. He may never get that back. But what he's doing, you got to love it. It's been almost automatic when you hand it off to him inside the 5 or 10 yard line. It's like, yeah, he's going to score 10 rushing touchdowns on the season. You didn't jinx anybody. Shit, I'm concerned about Missouri. Nurse Court says, I mean, just like Florida State, I mean, like Texas A&M as well. Until we beat them, I mean, like we've got to say we're worried about them until we beat them. They're teams that potentially can beat us. They're teams that we can't just say, oh yeah, we got them. Yeah, we're gonna kick their ass. I really don't feel that way about any team on this schedule outside of Georgia State, Grambling State. I mean, Army, respectfully so. You can throw them in that line. Florida State, even though they beat us, I gotta have a feeling that this team, week 1, it's gonna be on ABC. It's gonna be on national TV on Labor Day, where everyone, like even LeBron James, was watching last season. Everyone was watching that game last season. And we got our pants pulled down. I think that this team is going to remember that. I think this team is going to want to just absolutely bury the living shit out of Florida State. Absolutely skull drag them all across Camping World Stadium. That's something you can bet on. I really do. I really do believe that. And I think in year 1, you see Brian Kelly wanting to establish this mindset of pounding the opposition. Hey, we're going to punch you in the face. I know you thought that I was from Notre Dame and I'm going to be soft here in the SEC. No, we are going to hit you in the fucking mouth. And he wanted to send that message with having this offensive line and this rushing game be so. This offense was basically predicated on this rushing game. They had over 30 rushing touchdowns. Quarterback had 11. Every running back had over 4 or 5 touchdowns. I believe it was 5 rushing touchdowns. Armani Goodwin had 5 rushing touchdowns in 7 games, for Christ's sake. There was guys who were putting it in the end zone all over the field. That was what we did. I think year 1 he wanted to send a message with, we're going to run it down your throat. And he wanted to establish that identity with this kind of young, inexperienced offensive line so that we always can call upon that. Now in year 2, I think he knows in games like that Georgia game where we should have been throwing in certain spots inside the red zone. Instead, we're handing it off, and it was just so telegraphed, and we got destroyed on those plays. That's got to change this season. We can't be so conservative on offense. We have to dial it up in the passing game. We have the receivers, we have the tight ends, we have the running backs who can catch the damn ball. We need to get the quarterback in sync with them. We need to get the receivers on the same page. 22 drops by this receiving core is inexcusable. 22 drops from passes thrown by Jaden Daniels. Inexcusable. Inexcusable. And I know there's a lot of, okay, he throws some uncatchable passes at times and stuff like that. And the trajectory of the passes he throws, sure. But if that ball catches that ball hits both of your hands, you are catching the damn ball. And you should have no excuse. Not this, well, he's a running quarterback, you can't throw it. No, it hits you in both of your hands. You're catching the damn ball or get the hell off the field. And right now, I feel like that with LSU. I feel like that. After seeing so many transfers, after seeing so many guys say they love being Tigers, after seeing so many people, proclaim their love for this program and then just take off, it's put up or shut up right now. Like, either you love LSU, you're going to act that out on the practice field, on the football field, in the classroom, every day, or you're going to turn your back on it and take off. But at this point, like, it just sucks sometimes when you see, you feel almost like the system sets it up for guys who love the school so much it's like something they love so much that they had to leave it or something. I don't know how to explain it. It's just this weird, like, you're seeing people who love their schools so much leaving, and it's strange. It's just a strange time for college football. And I really want to see this 2023 team fired up because of it, pissed off because of it, angered because of it. Are you going to leave, or do you want to be part of this team? Like, then walk out this door right now. Like some type of like foot stomping revelry, some type of like, we're about to go win a national championship. Either you're with us or you're against us. And like, I think you're going to see that from this team. I think you're going to see veterans, stand up with that leadership. I think you're already seeing that with guys like Omar Speights coming on this team and suddenly just having a huge impact as a leader. That's a guy you just keep hearing about as someone who's leading the locker room. Omar Speights is someone who's come in and had no problem being a big time leader. And so I think this team will have no shortage of talent, no shortage of depth in certain spots. Boy, we have some spots that are very, very worrying depth-wise for me. But in the trenches, it looks like we're really solidified on the offensive line. It appears, even though we did suffer some transfers. It's on paper, this LSU team should be one game away, the game against Alabama, from winning the SEC West. Either we win that game, we go to Atlanta and have a really 50-50, 60-40 chance to go to the college football playoff, or we lose that game. It's going to be really that close. I think we're going to be a damn good team this year. I really do believe this team's going to not only compete for the SEC West, be right there next to Alabama. Hopefully, last time we played Alabama, hopefully there's some type of curse, some type of marker that has been implanted into Nick Saban's brain, and seeds of doubt, seeds of fear. But I don't know. It's going to be a strange season because there's a lot of unknowns with Alabama, a lot of unknowns with a lot of our SEC West rivals, a lot of unknowns with so many of the coaching staffs, so many of the quarterbacks, so much of the rosters for these teams. Georgia, First year without Stetson Bennett. There's a lot of what ifs in the SEC this season. But if LSU can stay healthy, can keep those starters that are on paper, like Will Campbell, Emory Jones, Garrett Dellinger, Charles Turner, keep all these guys healthy, Miles Frazier, keep all those guys healthy, keep all the running backs healthy, that unbelievable stable, keep all these receivers healthy, that brilliant freshman talent supplementing Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., Aaron Anderson, Chris Hilton Jr., someone who's another guy who could absolutely be a freak of nature this season. If we can really kind of stabilize the linebacker unit and the defensive line health and the DB depth of this defense, this top 10 defense from last year, who only lost a few key veterans, a few guys who are heading for the NFL. I understand that that's a big loss, but we're totally did not lose anything regarding talent, especially when you're talking about Quincy Wiggins coming into his own, someone who has boundless ceiling, really. Mason Smith returning. We didn't even have Mason Smith last year. Harold Perkins in year 2. This is a team that should compete on all fronts. This is a team that should compete for the SEC West, and this is a team that straight up should compete for a national championship this season. Anything less is a disappointment. Everybody, we will be having some pretty crazy breaking news coming up on LSUODYSSEY.com the next couple days. Should be tomorrow. And an interview or 2, potentially. We just kind of figured that out on the phone here. And so buckle up, get ready, lock and load. And I don't know what you're doing, but subscribe to LSUODYSSEY.com because that's where you're going to find all of this. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sorry about not being able to find these damn comments. They're buried within 1,000 notifications. I will find these damn comments and resurrect them for the show tomorrow, which we're going to be doing as well at the same bat time, same bat channel. Everybody, thank you for joining us. It has been a blessing.